I guess, yeah, first question. Who or what inspired you into joining this industry, and how long have you been in it for?
It's definitely a big family thing. Um, my grandparents owned a restaurant when I was growing up, um, and then family meals at my parents' house were a very big thing. Like
Right.
every Sunday, we would always do it. I would always cook it, starting from like 11 years old. Started cooking like holiday meals really young, and I just
Right.
got really into that. And the biggest thing, probably, my brother was a chef. Um, First restaurant I worked at was when I was 14. It was his restaurant, um, and I started off there as like an essay
Right.
busboy. Then I did like polishing, dishwashing, and then when I was 15, he helped me starting to cook on the line, and that's when I like really understood that this is what I want to do.
Right.
So I've been in it for I'm 30 now, so 15 over 15 years.
Right.
Yeah, goes by fast. Yeah, definitely family is the biggest thing. Um, and I just really love the idea that it's a career where you never stop learning.
Right.
It's just every day you can gain something different out of it, and there really are no kind of boring days or slow days. There's always something to gain, always something to learn.
Right. Um, what are your thoughts on culinary school, and is it worth the money and experience?
I think it's different for everybody. I went to CIA,
Right.
New York. Um, After I went to business school at Marquette, I moved to New York City. When I was 22, I worked in a restaurant called Gramercy Tavern. I worked there for a year, got my ass kicked. Um, just because I mean, I worked in restaurants for a long time, but not like that level of fine dining. This was a
Right.
one Michelin star place
Mm.
and kind of like a New York institution. So after a year there, I went to CIA. I learned a lot in some classes. Um, it's expensive though. That's one of the issues. I think sometimes it sets this unexpected expectation that you're going to be a chef right away, when it's like you have to grind and you have to push and work minimum wage for years
Right.
until you get to that position. Um, if you have the ability to pay for it, and if you have the willingness to commit yourself to really learning from it, it's absolutely worth the experience.
Right.
I committed myself, and I learned a ton of it in a year, and then I realized that was enough for me. The degree was less important to me than maybe some of the confidence I gained from it, and knowing that I can prove myself and do things right.
Right. Um, would you agree that the stereotype of a kitchen being ran by fear is something only seen in films or TV?
To an extent. When I was coming up in kitchens, especially in New York, from 2016 to 2021, a lot of them were ran by fear.
Mm.
Um, and that affected me a lot. It was really hard to deal with. But I think things are changing for the better. And it taught me a lot about how to do things a different way. Um, I think mentorship is super important. And that's something I got from a handful of people. But those people had a much greater effect on me than anybody who kind of ran their kitchen by fear.
Mm.
I like to believe that it's changing a little bit. I'm trying to be a part of that solution.
Right.
It's really hard to cook good food if you're afraid and if you're not smiling. One of my favorite things a chef ever said to me, his name was Vinny. He was my CDC in New York at Del Posto. He said, "Jeff, I haven't seen you smile once tonight. I can tell you're going through something, and I can taste it in the food. Let me know what I can do for you, and we'll get through it."
Right.
And that really stayed with me, because he was right. Like it's hard to be in a bad place and really commit yourself to making good food.
Mm. Following the question, I assume that was chef. Was there a chef you had worked with or alongside who influenced the way you managed here
Yeah.
at Adelina?
That was definitely Vincent Cortese. He was a CDC at Del Posto. He was my executive sous chef when I was at Danielle, which is another restaurant in New York. He kind of, first of all, he gave me a lot of fun phrases that I use all the time now, like "oh yeah, babe," and "we're really doing it."
Right.
But also, he just treated me like a human being, and like I was not only his line cook, but I was his friend, and then I could come to him with things.
Right.
And he just really reminded me the importance of the team in the back. Like, it's not just about the people out here eating, it's about all of us.
Right.
If you guys aren't happy, if you're not, if you're being mistreated, it's just not. It's not going to be a good environment to make good food. The care that he had for me and the care that I saw he had for everyone else really inspired me.
Right.
Yeah. And I still have a relationship with him. You know, I still talk to him all the time. I ask him for advice.
Right.
And he makes me want to be that kind of chef too. You know.
That's great. Would you ever participate in a competition like Chef Sue, or is this more like a passion?
I don't know if I have the same charisma as Chef Sue, to be honest with you. He's so good at that. I'm not great at being on camera. I'm not even great at being recorded. I get nervous about stuff like that. Even when I drop food off to guests, if it's a dish that I made from start to finish,
Right.
I still somehow get a little nervous about it. But I do want to get better at that. I don't know if a competition per se is in my future, but I think the idea of having the confidence to go on to a show like that is super important for young chefs. Understanding that you have a place in the dining room and that you have every right to be out here and every right to, you know, be proud of your food and speak to your food, speak to your team. That's super important. I get Instagram messages from Chopped all the time.
Right.
I don't know. I've had nightmares about Chopped. Top Chef, I would do.
Top Chef.
Iron Chef, I would do in a heartbeat. I'd love to do that. I like doing things that it's more about cooking rather than about, you know, being a celebrity chef. That's not really my style. I want to be a voice for the industry, but I don't necessarily want to promote products.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do.
I want to promote the industry to become a healthier, better place. And I think one way to do that is on Top Chef or on Iron Chef or on any of like the more quality celebrity chef shows. And I think Chef Sue is doing that.
Yeah, like that one time you had me to introduce the gazpacho, I was starting nervous.
Right, yeah, no, and I get that. I'm still the same way. It's something I'm still working on. But you made the dish, you know? You plated the entire thing up. And you
Right.
plated it as well as I could plate it. So at that point, it's like, you get the spotlight for a second. I think that's super important. You know, sharing the credit with your team.
Right.
You know, it's not about me. It's about us all.
Right. The reason I decided to interview today's chef is because from the first day when I met you on my stage, when you walked up to me, introduced yourself, I'm like, the way you got along with Alex and Fernando that day, I'm like, this man is respectful. He gets along with the staff. I think I will enjoy myself here, and I really do look up to you. I believe
really
in your
appreciate
inspiration.
That means a lot more to me than you know. 'Cause I was in your shoes,
Right.
you know, and I had people that I looked up to a lot, and I rely on them, and I want you to rely on me, because I'm here for you. You know, this is why I love this job. You know, being a part of a team, making the difference,
Right.
being the difference, right?
Yes, sir. All right. Well, that should be it. Thank you, chef.
Cool. No, thank you, for real. I appreciate you doing this with me.
All right. We'll probably see you again on Friday.
Yeah,
if
I'll
you're
be here.
All right, chef. Thank
Cool.
you.